Hello, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Nandito po tayo sa ika-51 episode ng ating Itanong mo kay Kuya Nestor. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ngayong hapon po ay nag-iisa tayo. Wala yung ating kasama. Ngayong hapon wala si Lala. Pero hopefully makapag-online siya mamaya. So, ngayong hapon, of course, bago po ang lahat, medyo mag-ingat tayo sa patuloy na pagtaas ng temperatura dito sa Japan, no? So medyo mabilis o maaga ang pag-init dito sa Japan dahil sa matagal na panahon, ngayon lang nangyari yung buwan ng June, nasa 40 degrees na yung temperatura dito sa Japan. So ingat-ingat po tayo. Para tayong uminom ng tubig na at umiwas sa mga may init na lugar para maiwasan natin yung ating heat stroke na tinatawag. So magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So, para sa mga nais mag-comment, magsulat lang po kayo sa ating chat box para sa ating mga katanungan or may mga gusto kayong sabihin. At sa mga, para naman po doon sa mga gusto mag-share, share nyo lang po yung ating programa at may pagkakataon po kayong manalo ng ating Japino TV mug. So, kaya lang po kailangan po ninyong hindi i-privatize yung inyong sharing kasi hindi po namin makikita. So, kung mag-share po kayo, please let us know kung done yung inyong sharing para isama natin. At isa po pala, yung mga sharing, kahit naman po saan pwedeng i-share. Kaya lang po, ang pwede lang pong, o may pagkakataon lang manalo ng mug ng Japino TV, ay yung mga nasa loob lang within Japan lang po. Kasi doon lang yung pwedeng may padala yung mug. No? So yung mga nasa Pilipinas o ibang lugar, pasensya na po tayo. Hindi po kayo makakasama doon sa ating raffle. And of course, pero kung mahalaga yung ating laman ng ating programa, kahit po free po yan na mai-share po kahit saan po at kanino. So yun po, ngayong hapon ang ating tatalakayin, katulad ng ating title, kapag namatay ang asawa ko, paano ang kanyang pension at maiiwang ari-arian. So nitong mga nakaraang panahon, medyo marami po kasi yung mga inquiries hinggil doon sa paano pag namatay yung asawa, paano yung pension ng kanyang asawa, ano ang karapatan ng naiiwang asawa or ng anak para doon sa kanyang maiiwang ari-arian. So yan po yung ating pag-uusapan. At ito medyo mahalagang issue dito sa Japan kasi ito yung isa sa pinagmumula ng problema at karamihang problema ng mga foreigner na may asawang Hapon. So ngayong hapon po, ang ating bisita, ating tagapagsalita ay walang iba kundi ang ating pong kasama dati sa Filipino Migrant Center, si Ichino Sensei. Isa po siyang immigration lawyer. So isa siya, kumbaga sa Hapon ay tawag doon, Gyosei Soshi na tinatawag, no? So administrative lawyer na naka-focus or ang kanyang specialty ay ang immigration. So pero since na maalam din po siya sa usapin ng mga legal matters hinggil sa mga namatay na asawa, so siya po yung ating bisita ngayong hapon. Please let us all welcome Attorney Ichino Sensei. Onegaishimasu. Magandang hapon, konnichiwa Sensei.
Magandang hapon, konnichiwa Nestor-san. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Good, thank you. It's
getting hot.
Yeah, you're right.
Please take care.
Yeah, you too. It's really hot. It's incredible.
So, Sensei, it's up to you now. If you could just introduce or start the discussion about the.
All right. I think I should start. Yeah, I think I should start because we do have 16 questions tonight so far. So yeah. Can I start it now?
Yes, sure. Please.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Okay. Magandang hapon and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm very pleased to be joining right over here. And tonight, this I should say this afternoon, um, uh, um, we're going to talk about inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think many of interested in that, and I'm sure all of people will face inheritance sooner or later. So I hope this tonight, today's topic will help you out near future or maybe soon or whenever.
Mm-hmm.
So let's first let me tell you about a little about a bit about the inheritance before answering the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show info, please?
Second.
Oh yes. This is questions.
The second. Sorry.
The first. This, which one?
The second
Info.
part. The second. Number two.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Oh
Okay.
yes. Uh huh. Please look at the A.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when a person dies?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of things should happen, but for tonight, today's topic, the inheritance of rights, duties, and the property of the deceased person occur.
Mm-hmm.
And look at B, please. Which country's law applies to inheritance? According to Article 36 of the Act on General Rules for Application of Laws, which determines the governing law, and it says inheritance is governed by the law of the decedent's home country. So, in other words, Japanese people are governed by Japanese law, and foreigners are governed by the law of their home country.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Japanese husband, the couple of Japanese husband and a Filipino wife,
Mm-hmm.
where if the Japanese husband dies, in this case, the inheritance is governed by Japanese law.
Japan's law. Yeah.
hmm So please remember it. All right. Now, please, can you show questions?
Number one.
Uh huh. Number one. Okay. Um. Yes. Thanks. Um. Number one. About last will.
Mm-hmm.
If the inheritance will go to the husband's relative and nothing on the Filipino wife, does she have the right to receive inheritance? That's a question.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is um, when the husband dies, the spouse is always an heir are entitled to a legally reserved portion. The
Mm-hmm.
legally reserved portion is the minimum portion of inheritance
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed to certain heirs, such as spouse,
Mm-hmm.
lineal descendants, and lineal ascendants.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, if you make a will, you can bequeath your entire property to someone other than your legal heirs. However, this may result in this loss of a home and livelihood for the remaining family members.
Mm-hmm.
In order to prevent such a situation, the Japanese Civil Code provides for legally reserved portion that guarantees the heirs acquiring certain percentage of the inheritance. So therefore, in this case, the Filipino wife has a right to acquire legally reserved portion
Mhm.
of the inheritance against the husband's relative. Mm. And please note that the right to claim that infringed amount of the legally reserved portion
Mhm.
is extinguished by the negative prescription if you do not exercise the right to claim within 1 year from the time of knowing of commencement inheritance and violating legally reserved portion. This shall also apply if 10 years have passed since the time of commencement of inheritance. And this case, a percentage of legally um, reserved portion, I mean the wife's, is one half of the decedent's property.
One half.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's a answer of the question.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, sir.
let me just confirm it, Sensei. Ano, you mean I mean whether the last will should go to the family, or other than the family, the wife has the right to receive at least 50% of the inheritance,
That's right. Can you show 1H, please?
one each.
Mm-hmm.
That's number three.
Number three. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. This is just table of the heirs,
Mm-hmm.
and see the center. There is a at the center. There's a Japanese husband that crossed. It
Mm-hmm.
means
Died.
died. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And see the left hand of it, left side of it,
It's the
Philippine
Filipino wife.
wife. The wife is always heir,
Mm-hmm.
so she can get, the she can receive the property.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And the um, if there is not the first heirs,
Mm-hmm.
then second heirs will be the heirs. But this time also, wife is heir, one of the heir. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I say again, one half of the decedent's property is the legally reserved portion
Mm-hmm.
for wife. Yeah.
So does it so I mean there are three hairs for this example, for example,
Oh
this
yes.
example. Uh-huh.
In this case, the Filipino wife and Japanese husband, they have
Uh-huh.
two children, like child
Uh-huh.
one, child two.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, the heirs are wife and child one and child two.
Mm. In case the Japanese husband has a child prior to the marriage with the Filipina, right? They would be the third heirs.
They must be married.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
And if the child two has died before the inheritance, and if child two got married with the other one,
Mm-hmm.
in this case, the heir would be a grandchild of child
Mm-hmm.
two. This is the first heirs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The child of the child. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Let me go. Can I go to number 2?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The question number 2 is married to a Japanese who died during their second years of marriage. They don't have child. Does she can extend her visa?
Mhm.
That's a question number 2. Um, when a Japanese husband dies, the wife is no longer a spouse of a Japanese national.
Mhm.
National.
Mhm.
So if she wishes to remain in Japan, she
Mhm.
must change her status of residence, such as long-term resident visa.
Mhm.
Um, if a Japanese husband dies after 2 years of marriage,
Mhm.
generally speaking, it is a bit difficult to change the status of residence because I think more years of marriage is would be needed.
At least 3 years
Yeah,
minimum.
I would say so. Yes.
Mhm.
Mm. And in the event of the death of a Japanese husband,
Mhm.
um, uh, his foreign wife is obliged um, obliged to report the death of her Japanese spouse to the Immigration Bureau within
Mhm.
14 days.
14 days.
Notification procedures can be done via online
Mhm.
at the immigration office or by mail.
Mhm.
That's compulsory.
Mhm. Okay.
Mhm.
Para lang, Sese, could you please allow me to explain it in Tagalog
Yes, please.
for the benefit of our viewers.
Yes, please.
Yung una, yung sa number one, i-generalize ko lang yung binanggit ni Chino Sensei na doon batay sa pinakita niya, ang asawa ay mayroong karapatang makakuha ng 50% ng inheritance o may iwan ng kanyang asawang hapon kahit na mayroon pang ibang kahati ayon doon sa last will, yung sa testamento na ginawa noong Japanese, no? So, batay doon sa pinakita kanina, mayroong yung first na pwedeng yung family niya, yung kanyang namatayang naiwan ng asawa at saka mga anak. So, yung second naman ay yung kanyang naiwang magulang, no? Magulang ng Japanese. Tapos yung third heir naman, yung tagapagmana, ay yung kanyang unang anak, no? Ibig sabihin yung nauna niya naging anak doon sa bago yung kanyang asawang sa pamilya niya sa Pilipinas ngayon. Then yung second question naman kung makakapag-change ba o makakapag-extend ng visa yung Filipina under the spouse visa category. Yun nga, kung 2 years pa lang kayong nagsasama at walang anak, medyo mahirap yung makapag-extend or makapag-change pala ng status of residence. Kasi at least 3 years yung pagsasama ninyong Ngayon, kailangan nyo din i-report within 14 days yung pagkamatay ng inyong asawa by online or email or possibly personally mag-report kayo dun sa immigration. Okay. Yes, it's necessary.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Let's go to number 3.
Number 3, yes.
Um, uh, beneficiary of her Japanese husband in his life insurance is his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Filipino wife and their children have the right to receive anything? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
The answer. Um, the heirs are the Filipino wife and the children.
Mm-hmm.
Between the Japanese husband and the Filipino wife, that's the table 1H shows Therefore, the Filipino wife and her children are entitled to receive inheritance property of the Japanese husband.
Mm-hmm.
If a beneficiary of life insurance is designated,
Mm-hmm.
the life insurance does not become an inheritance under the Japanese Civil Code, but
Mm-hmm.
becomes a property of the designated beneficiary.
Which is the mother?
Yes,
Which is the mother of the?
in this case,
Uh,
his
mm,
mother. Mm.
mhm,
Um, in this case, if there is not inheritance at all, or only a small amount, and the life insurance is paid to someone other than the heirs,
mhm,
it can be considered unfair, and they should first consult a lawyer to
mhm.
solve the issue.
The issue.
Hmm.
Ano, can I ask, Sensei, what do you mean life insurance is not an inheritance?
Um, if the uh, um, it's not in, it doesn't count as inheritance.
Mhm,
Mm, just uh, uh, just the property for the beneficiary. Mm,
property, particularly for the beneficiary.
mm.
Mhm,
If yeah, uh, yes, if the insurance is designated to, other than the
heirs.
heirs, yes.
Mhm,
Mm,
okay.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's probably same question on the number six, so I'll just follow it up on the number six because
Okay. Yes.
it's about pension. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Please continue, Sensei.
Okay.
Thanks.
Number four.
Number
If
four.
Yes, if a child has a right, if the Japanese father died married to another person, yes, all legal children of a
Mm-hmm,
deceased Japanese father
mm-hmm,
are heirs,
mm-hmm.
and therefore they
I
entitled
told-
to receive the inheritance.
mhm.
Hmm.
So does it mean, Sensei, for example, based on the first graphics that you showed earlier,
Hmm.
for example, if the present husband and child is the
Hmm.
first heirs,
Hmm.
then the child of the previous marriages will
Hmm.
become the third heirs, right?
The first heirs.
So the deceased, um, so there's a different benefits from the third heirs and the first heirs.
Okay. Let me tell you again. Let me tell you again. Well, if the Japanese husband
Mm-hmm,
got married before,
mm-hmm,
and he had a child,
mm-hmm,
and then after that he divorced that wife, and then remarried to a
mm-hmm,
Filipino wife,
mm-hmm,
and they have two child like the table.
mm-hmm,
In this case, heirs are the present wife
mm-hmm,
and three children.
mm-hmm.
One child who was born before.
Before the marriage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are one, two, three, four heirs.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
understand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay. All right. Yes. That's the answer number four.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, are they going to receive the same percentage?
That's right.
The wife?
That's right.
Okay. Hi.
Mm-hmm. Can I go number 5?
Yes, sure, please.
All right.
Thank you.
About the issue of debt and the property.
Mhm.
Um, sorry. Debt are also an object of inheritance
Mhm.
as negative property.
Mhm.
So if the deceased person has more negative property
Mhm.
than positive property,
Mhm.
um, heir may renounce
Mhm.
renounce their status as an heir.
Mhm.
Mhm. If he or she renounce inheritance, um, he or she are n- is not an heir from the beginning.
Mhm.
Mm. And
So,
yes,
yeah,
let me say it again.
go on, please.
Oh yes, procedure for renunciation of inheritance. It can be done at the family court.
Family court.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it.
The
Yes,
heir should file the case to the family court.
that's right. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
and
Can I just explain it in Tagalog
yes.
about the number 3, number 4, and number 5?
Hmm.
So yung sa number 3 na kung ang beneficiary ng life insurance ay yung magulang o yung nanay noong namatay na Japanese, according to Ichiro-sensei, ang life insurance is hindi isang inheritance. So, nagiging personal property raw ito noong beneficiary. So, kung sino yung nakalagay doon sa life insurance na beneficiary, siya lang yung karapatan makakuha noong beneficiary kahit na ito ay life insurance na binayaran ng Japanese husband. Pero, kung halimbawa kung meron halimbawang may parang unfairness dahil sa wala yung nanay nakatanggap ng malaki dahil doon sa life insurance tapos yung naiwan ng asawa o yung naiwan ng mga anak ay walang natira, pwede raw kumonsulta sa lawyer para magpetisyon na kung pwede makahingi or makakuha nung portion ng tinatawag na life insurance benefit ng kanyang beneficiary. Then yung sa number 4 naman, if the child has the right, if the Japanese father died, may represent. So, yung lahat ng anak ng Japanese ay mayroong pantay-pantay na karapatan para tumanggap ng anumang mamanahin, no? So, kung halimbawa katulad ng example ni Ichino Sensei, kung mayroong anak sa una na isa, tapos yung anak ngayon ay dalawa, batay doon sa namatay, naiwan niyang asawa na Pilipina, for example, so maghahati-hati dyan ay apat yung Pilipinang asawa, tsaka yung dalawang anak, tsaka yung naunang anak. So, pare-pareho sila ng porsyento na pwedeng matanggap na inheritance. Then, doon sa number 5 naman, issue ng utang at saka ng property, ang utang ay isa ring namamana. So, yung tinatawag nila na negative property. So, family report. So, family court. So, pwede pa lang i-renounce o i-renunciation of yung heirs, yung kanyang mana, kaya lang hindi mo makukuha yung iyong, kung halimbawa, mas malaki yung utang kaysa doon sa mamanahin mo, pwede kang mag-file sa family court ng renunciation of heirs, no? So, yung sa number 5, no? So, ang proseso po na ito ay ginagawa sa family court. Okay, Sensei, continue please. Let's go to number 6.
Okay. Addition about renunciation of inheritance.
Yes.
Well, this should be done 3 months from the time of knowing commencement of inheritance. So it's really short. So must be careful.
So it means 3 months upon knowing the inheritance.
Yes.
And when will it count?
The the starting time is the knowing of a commencement inheritance.
What if he knows the inheritance after 10 years? Will it count 10 years and 3 months?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know how can possibly a person
hold on.
could know the inheritance of his late
Yeah.
father, for example. I mean, is there any notice or
No notice at all.
notification from somebody from
Normally, no.
knows?
Mm, 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 mm,
Mhm.
Hold on.
Well, it's just a curiosity, no? Because it's a
Yes,
short period. It's only 3 months. So
that's right.
when
Yes.
when will it count? No, the 3 months. Anyway, hi. So yung sinasabi ni dinagdag ni Chino Sensei yung kailangan ma-file yung renunciation ng iyong ano 3 months sa panahon na nalaman mo yung inheritance. So hindi natin alam, katulad ng tinanong ko po, hindi natin alam kung paano malalaman na may utang pala or may property pala. So medyo vague yung yung kasi medyo maikli yung panahon kaya siguro dun sa mga taong concerned baka pwedeng mag-effort na lang para malaman, no? So let's make an effort how to know if your father has a debt or has a property. Yun. Okay, Sensei, please.
All right. The question. Let me tell you about the question that Nestor just asked about if more than 3 months has gone after.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, in this case, or the heir should explain this to the family court and need to be recognized yet.
Mhm.
Mm.
Okay. Mhm.
Uh-huh. Right. Can I go to number 6?
Yes, please.
Okay. How can number 6? How can a wife know if her deceased husband has pension, life insurance, and so
Mhm.
on? Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, about pensions.
Mhm.
Mm, pension enrollment is mandatory. So people are basically enrolled in the pension plan. So the heir should look for the pension coverage letter
Mhm.
mailed to deceased husband from the pension office,
Mhm.
or the receipt for the pension insurance tax paid in cash,
Mhm.
or the passbook if the tax was paid by direct debit or pension book.
Mhm.
Mm.
You mean the blue book?
Oh yeah, blue or orange, yes.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So it's enrollment is mandatory.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then life insurance.
Mhm.
About life insurance, if the deceased husband told you or told um, the rest of the family, like wife, that he purchased life insurance before his death,
Mhm.
look for the life insurance policy.
Mhm.
If the life insurance company send the deceased husband a document once a year
Mhm.
notifying him the policy's status and the amount of premiums
Mhm.
paid, the deceased husband may have received the document.
Mhm.
So look for that document.
Mhm.
And since premiums are usually deducted from bank account,
Mhm.
so check the deceased husband's passbook if there is, deduction or not. And if the deceased husband was a company employee,
Mhm.
and check with the general affairs section of his workplace to see if there is a declaration of insurance premium deduction. If there is a possibility that the deceased husband had purchased life insurance. That's a way to look for.
But sometimes the Japanese husband is too secretive, without mentioning their wives the policy they have. Well, pension, as you have said, it's mandatory. So basically, all regular workers have pension, but for life insurance, sometimes they kept the issue to their wives. So it's very difficult for a Filipino or a foreign wife to look after for the policies, even the policy of the insurance company.
Yeah, that because they are written in Japanese, so it's more
And there's
difficult
one
than
more
Japanese.
issue.
Yes.
Is there any other way that they could probably,
Well,
aside from what you mentioned, their
the company and passbook,
yes, aside from the passbook and the company.
and insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's about it. What I can.
Okay, so no other options.
Maybe there are, but
okay. We'll try to look for another options how to look for.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, Sensei, please. Number 7.
Okay. Number 7. If the Japanese husband died and he has property to claim from his parents or family property, since he died first before his parents, do the wife and child of the deceased Japanese can get what he is supposed to get from his family property? Can you show 2H?
2H. That's number 4. Kasi po yung tinatanong natin dito, kung halimbawang may dapat tatanggapin yung dapat tatanggapin yung namatay na Japanese husband. Kaya lang mas nauna pa siyang namatay doon sa magulang niya. So kung meron bang karapatan yung maiiwang asawa at saka yung anak. No? Hi, please. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But this question is talking about this, right? Japanese husband died before his parents die, right? Yeah. Okay. Yes. When the Japanese husband dies before the Japanese husband's parents, the children of the deceased Japanese husband cannot inherit the property that they would have inherited if the Japanese husband's parents had died. The reason is that the Japanese husband's parents are still alive. So, when the father or mother of the deceased Japanese husband dies, the heirs are the mother and the children. If the father dies, and the father and the children, if the mother dies. So, however, since the child, in this case, who is the Japanese husband of the Filipino wife, deceased, in this case, the grandchildren, children of the deceased, the Japanese husband, will be the heirs and receive the property.
So, I don't know the exact term, but the Filipino wife and the child should wait for the deceased Japanese husband's parents.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You
But in
gotta,
that
you
case,
gotta explore.
Filipino wife cannot be heir.
Ah, only the child.
Yes.
Only the child.
Mm, okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So, yun, yung sinasabi na ano, kailangang hantayin mo nang mamatay. Kung naunang namatay yung, ano, yung asawang Hapon, pero may supposedly may mamanahin siya sa kanilang pamilya. So, ang may karapatan lang magmana ay yung anak. Pero hihintayin mo ng pumanaw yung lolo at saka lola niya, no? Bago niya maklaim yung supposedly mamanahin ng kanyang tatay. Okay? Next, boss.
Okay. Number 8 is death and inheritance.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
As you have discussed earlier. No?
Mhm.
So, ang utang ay isa rin pong namamana, hindi lang yung mga property. Okay. Next,
Okay.
boss.
Number 9. If a child of more than 18 years old can receive pension from deceased Japanese father, um, if the child is entitled to receive a survivor's pension,
Mhm.
the child receives it until March 31st of the year in which the child turns 18 years old.
Until 18 years old.
Yes,
Sorry.
until the March 31st of the year in which the child turns 18 years old.
So from 19, the child
No,
cannot
no,
receive anymore.
that's right.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, ang sinasabi lang po dito na ang bata ay o anak ay po pwede lang makatanggap ng pension ng kanyang father hanggang 18 years old noong siya ay or March 31, no? Ng kanyang 18 years old. Okay.
Okay.
Number 10, please.
Number 10. Number
Uh-huh.
10. How to process properties left by the deceased Japanese husband. Mm, if there is a will, the heirs divide the property according to the will.
Mm-hmm.
If there is not will, the heirs will confer to divide the property. If all heirs agree to the
Mm-hmm.
division of the property is divided according to the result of the property division conference.
Mm-hmm.
And please note that if there are minors among the heirs, a special representative must be appointed by the family court.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And if the heirs are unable to agree on the division of the property, make an application to the family court for division of the property.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yes.
To the family court, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So, yun po kung meron kung merong last will na ang so kung merong last will, so depende yan kung ano yung nilalaman ng testamento. So, kung wala namang testamento, dapat mag-agree yung lahat ng mga taong concerned doon sa division ng property, yung paghahati-hati ng property. And if case na merong minor, ibig sabihin bata pa, so dapat siyang i-represent ng tao na itatakda ng korte. In case na merong hindi agreed o hindi payag doon sa agreement noong hatian, pwedeng mag-file ng petition to settle the issue doon sa family court. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Please.
Okay, let's go to number 11.
11.
Mhm. Not married, but the name is included in the last will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if he or she is not married, uh, he or she cannot be an heir of deceased person.
Mhm.
However, even if she or he is not married to the deceased person,
Mhm.
she or he can receive the property if
Mhm.
he or his or her name and the property to be given to you to him or her are written in the will.
Mhm.
Mm.
So even if they are not married, for example, in this case, if a Japanese guy died and
Mm.
according to his last will, the
Mm.
name of Filipina, which is not,
Mm.
they're not married, so
Mm-hmm.
so she is entitled also to receive what
Mm-hmm.
was being written in the last
Mm.
will, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
So, yun, yung number 11, kung kayo ay kahit hindi kayo kasal doon sa Hapon na namatay, kung nandoon ang pangalan ninyo doon sa huling testamento nung namatay, entitled pa rin kayo makatanggap nung kanyang inheritance batay doon sa nilalaman ng testamento. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then let's go to A. Question A.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. What are the things that should be prepared by the wife if the Japanese husband dies?
Mhm.
Right. Do the following four things.
Mhm.
Um, to do number one,
Mhm.
check if there is a will. Hmm.
Mhm.
Uh, if you find a will, do not open it. You must have it probated at the family court. And if deceased husband made a notarized will,
Mhm.
you can contact the notary public as it kept in the notary public office.
Mhm.
When a will is kept, if a will is kept at the Legal Affairs Bureau
Mhm.
and there's a will by holograph document custody system,
Mhm.
the heirs concerned, the heirs concerned will be notified that the will is in the custody of the testator upon his or her death.
Mhm.
Mhm. Then,
So, does it means
mm,
automatically the legal affairs bureaus will know if a person dies?
yeah, if the person deceased person left that his will at the Legal Affairs Bureau,
Mhm.
that the bureau will notice.
Mhm. Okay.
Mm. So anyway, let's just check if there is a
Ah,
will.
okay.
That's a to do number one. And number two, to do number two, it is necessary to determine the heirs. Who is heirs? You know,
Mhm.
who are the heirs? So to do so, obtain deceased husband's family register from the birth to his death.
Kasi ito, right?
Yes. To
Uh-huh.
do number three,
Mhm.
obtain family register of all heirs.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Individually.
Yes, individually. Yes. To do number four, uh, research and list the property of the deceased Japanese husband. Well, there are only four things to do, but there are maybe a lot of things to do. So if it's difficult, if if you feel it difficult, consult a legal professional.
Mhm.
Mm,
So, that's me. Right.
yeah.
Okay. So, yung tanong natin dito, what are the things, ano ba yung mga dapat nating ihanda ng mga asawang may iwanan, no? In case na mamatay ang inyong asawa. Una, kung check ninyo kung mayroon bang testamentong naiwan yung inyong asawa. In case na meron siyang testamento, huwag ninyong bubuksan, kundi ikukonsulta ninyo sa family court para sila ang magbukas doon. Pero kung in case naman na may notarized na, sabihin na notaryo na huling testamento, so pwedeng nandun yung file o yung record doon sa notarized public office. Pero meron din man case na may file sa Legal Affairs Bureau o sa Home Kyoku. So, ino-notify ng Home Kyoku yung lahat or yung pangunahing tagapagmana once na mamatay yung Japanese. Ikalawang bagay na dapat ihanda, alamin kung sino-sino yung mga posibleng mga tagapagmana. So, para malaman yan, kailangan makita o malaman ninyo yung kosikito o yung family register ng Japanese. And number 3, kailangan kumuha kayo ng lahat ng kosikito ng mga posibleng tagapagmana. So, yung anak, kung may mga apo, no, kung may mga magulang. So, kukuha kayo individually ng kanilang mga family register. And yung pang-apat, mag-research para maglista ng mga properties. Of course, mahirap yan i-determine, lalo na sa ating mga foreigner na mahirapan sa English, ay sa Nihongo. So, we could ask for consult yung mga professionals, no? So, para magpatulong doon sa mga proseso in case na may mga properties. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Right. Let's go to number B. What are the rights of a wife and child? Okay. As first heirs, they are entitled to inherit the deceased person's property. Yeah.
Do you know it? For example, do you know any? Do you know what's the percentage of how do they would divide property, for example?
Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. If there is a will, they follow the will. Okay. And if there is not a will, the wife is one half, and the child same as a wife, one half.
But
if there
in
are
case
if there is two children, one half times one half, the 25%.
So the other half should be divided by the number of child or children.
That's right. Yes.
And does it include the first child, for example?
Without marriage, you mean?
The first previous child, for example.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So yun, basically, pag kung merong testamento, so according to the testamento, yung pagbabatayan ng paghahatian. Pero kung wala namang testamento, yung last will, yung asawa makakatanggap ng 50%, yung 50% paghahati-hatian kung ilan yung anak na may iwanan. So, kung halimbawa, dalawa yung anak na naiwanan, dalawa sila maghahati ng one half. In case naman na mayroong anak sa una, tapos dalawa yung ngayon, so tatlo yung anak nila, ay tatlo yung anak ng Japanese, so tatlo sila maghahati-hati doon sa one half na titira. Okay, thank you, Sensei.
Okay, let me tell you, share in inheritance, statutory share in inheritance. Japanese civil code provides this. If a child and the spouse are heirs, the child's share in inheritance and the spouse share in inheritance shall be one half each. That's what I told you a while ago. And if a spouse and the lineal ascendants are heirs, in this case, the couple does not have a child.
Mm-hmm.
The spouse share in inheritance shall be 2/3, and the lineal ascendants share in inheritance shall be 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not lineal ascendants,
Mm-hmm.
in this case, a wife and deceased person's siblings, they are they are heirs. If a spouse and the siblings are heirs, the
Mm-hmm.
spouse's share in inheritance shall be 3/4,
Mm-hmm.
and the siblings' share in inheritance shall be 1/4.
Mm-hmm. The
Yep,
siblings of the deceased Japanese.
siblings should be Japanese.
Oh, of the
Yeah.
deceased.
I'm sorry.
The siblings of the deceased. Um.
If the siblings deceased, you mean?
Yeah.
All right. Can you show one H?
One is number 3. Mm-hmm.
Okay, third air, the green one. That's
Uh-huh.
if the sibling dies,
Mm-hmm. The
their
spouse.
niece or nephew.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
The sibling's spouse won't be heir, so please omit this.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
The sibling spouse will not be a beneficiary.
yes.
Only the niece and the nephew.
Uh-huh.
Uh, okay.
Okay. I'm going to explain that to
Okay.
Itanong. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
please.
It's okay. Okay, so yung doon sa letter C, um, wait lang. Letter C, um, ano, letter B. Ay, yung dagdag ni Ichino Sensei, no, the questioners, number 1. Kailangan yung, in case na ang maiiwan lang ay yung asawa lang, walang anak, so ang ang asawa ay pwedeng makatanggap ng 3/4, no? So yung 1/4 ay pwedeng mapunta doon sa kapatid ng namatay na Japanese. Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Let's
Next.
go to C. Okay.
Okay.
How can a wife know about the husband's pension and life insurance? Where to go to and how to acquire benefits? Well, about pension, contact the branch of Japan Pension Service. At that
Okay.
time, it is a good idea to take down deceased husband's pension number. That
Mm-hmm.
can be known at the pension book or letter from the pension service
Mm-hmm.
office. Mm. And the explanation about this can be seen in English at their website.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And about life insurance, prepare deceased husband's life insurance policy and contact his life insurance company
Mm-hmm.
to yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just like what you have explained earlier.
that's right. Yes.
Mhm. So yung sa letter C, kung yung pension kasi is mandatory. So lahat po, basically lahat meron ng pension. Kaya lang, depende yan kung, yun nga, kung talagang tatrabaho sa regular na kumpanya yung inyong asawa, then basically lahat meron yung pension. So kailangan alamin ninyo yung pension number ng inyong asawa, and then pwede po kayo mag-inquire sa pensions office. Doon naman sa life insurance, kung private ito, so kailangan yung maghanap ng mga info, no? Kung meron bang mga bills yung inyong asawa na binabayaran sa life insurance, o kaya meron ba kayong o meron ba kayong, kasi meron dumarating na parang galing sa insurance company every year para yung confirmation ng kanyang ng kanyang membership, tsaka yung kung may policy. So yun, alamin ninyo yung, halongkatin ninyo yung mga dokumento na may iwan ng inyong asawa. Please, Sese, please.
Okay. D. About last will testament. Okay. Well, the form of the will is determined by law. The civil code provides. There are three types of will are determined by civil code. Number one, a will shall be made by holograph document. That's number one. And number two is notarize. Excuse me, notarize a document. And number three, sealed and notarize the document. Let me tell you about will by holograph document. To make a will by holograph document, the testator must write the entitled text, the date, and his or her name in his or her own hand, and affix his or her seal. That's a will by holograph document. And then will by notarize a document. That's simple. It is a will notarized by a notary public. Notary public. And will by sealed and notarize a document. Well, let me skip the details of this because it's not so common. That's a will.
The last will is usually kept at home, or there is a record in the notary office or legal affairs office?
Well, it's up to the person who make a will.
Because we sometimes saw drama concerning last will.
That's right. They say for everybody, for even Japanese, everybody.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if it's really happens, no?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yun, para maka po kayo dun sa last will testament, it should be holographed, nandun yung petsa, kanino nakalagay, tapos sealed, handwritten noong namatay, at saka mayroong kanyang personal seal. So usually, ito ay pinapanotarized po, no? And yun, tinatanong natin kanina kung isi-sealed ba yan, and kung tinatago ba yan doon sa loob ng bahay, or kasi may record kapag naka-notarized, may record yan doon sa notary public. No? Yes, please continue.
Okay, the last one. Last one, yeah, E.
Yes. As we have mentioned.
Okay, that's no problem. About visa of wife in case the husband dies. Future residence in Japan will depend on the length of her marriage, the length of her previous residence, whether or not she has children with her deceased husband, and so on. So if she is a spouse of a Japanese national, she will change her status residence since she is no longer a spouse of Japanese national upon the death of her husband.
Okay. Maybe you explained it already earlier, but
that's right.
I just have a follow-up question, because if just like our example earlier, if the marriage was only for 2 years, so basically it would be difficult for the Philippine wife to extend or to change to a long-term resident. But what if for example, she is working in a hospital as a caregiver or kaigo, and the company is willing to support her to be her guarantor, for example. Does it has any possibility?
Yeah. If she can meet the requirements of the other visa, yeah, she would be able to obtain the permission.
The long term. What could that be possibly? The other requirements, for example, the company.
For instance, if she has graduated from university and majored in economics, and she has diploma, and if she finds a job at a company as, for instance, salesperson or just office worker and things, or interpreter or whatever, that in this case she would be able to change her visa as
What if she's graduated in different field, not economics or,
for instance,
engineering,
accounting, or
accountant, or I don't know.
Okay, accounting. Or if she can find a job like accountant, yeah, will be able to change.
But the example I mentioned earlier is about a kaigo.
Oh yes, kaigo.
Caregiver.
There are some requirements about the kaigo visa. So if she meets the requirements, she will be able to.
Okay. So she just have to know the exact requirements to
That's
meet
right.
the. So, yun po, kung katulad ng binabanggit kanina, kung medyo 2 taon lang at maikli yung inyong pagsasama, medyo mahirapan po makapag-file ng long term. Pero may possibility na makapag-change into long term. Kung halimbawa, batid sa example ni Ichino Sensei, yung kung kayo ay graduate ng economics at merong employer na po pwedeng mag-employ sa inyo as a salesperson, translator, or whatever. So, at pwede po kayong ma-change into a long-term resident. Ngayon, batid doon naman sa tinanong ko kung caregiver, may ibang requirements, kung ano yung mga requirements na kailangan i-submit para mabigyan kayo or possibly mabigyan ng long-term resident. So, kung in case na may ganyan kayong case, pwede magtanong doon sa mga professionals regarding doon sa exact requirements. Okay, thank you very much. Do you have anything you would like to add, Sensei? Because
right now, nothing.
We would like to ask if there were some questions from our viewers.
Okay.
So could you please just take a seat there, and then we'll look for if there were some questions. Ito, shout out muna tayo, Mitch Jaiche, share done from Fukushima Ken. Magandang hapon po. Grace Flores, konnichiwa, Kuya Nestor, and then magandang hapon din po, Miss Grace. And then kay Ann, magandang hapon, share done. There's a question here, kahit ba 3 years ago na deceased, Kuya, may makukuha pa rin? Grace, ano po eksaktong 3 years na namatay yung inyong husband? Ganun ba? Since there's a question here, if I'm just if 3 years ago the husband died, ito maybe we'll ask her again kung the details. Miss Grace, baka meron po kayong detalye para maina natin. Ito lang, kasanim mai kara. So no sanim mai wa nani ka wakana skill ne. If the Japanese husband dies or natino ka na. Okay, we'll just wait if she could provide us some information.
Okay.
Then, eto, Donna Domingo Alfonso, hello po, magandang hapon. Ogahara Maria, kumawa, and then Maldita ako, good evening po sa inyo. Yes, share dan po, maraming salamat. Si Nakajima Christie, share dan kuya. And Manette Sabedo Ibe, share dan. Yes, magandang hapon po. Lorian Machida. And Madel Rodena. Icon Sang Kumbawa po. Florence at Riginio. Magandang gabi po. Magandang gabi po ulit sa inyo lahat. Ayun. Well, wala na si Grace. Maybe Grace just got out. But, eto. Kuya, paano makakuha ng death certificate if nasa Pinas ka na po? Ito, there's a question here says, how could a Filipino wife get a death certificate if she is now in the Philippines?
Death certificate of
her late
Japanese husband.
Late Japanese husband.
Well, that. Well, in Japan we do not have a death certificate, but what it certifies is koseki.
Shiboto doke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's yes. What does she want to do? Death certificate?
Yeah. Anything that would probably certify the death of her husband.
The koseki, the family register is the family register certifies his death.
But sometimes in the Philippines,
that's right.
They require death certificate, or probably the same, or equivalent documents.
Okay, the certified true copy of death notification needs that should be at the city office or ward office that she submitted to.
So since the wife is in the Philippines, how could she probably get a copy of it?
Try to find proxy.
Appoint somebody to get on her behalf. So yun po Miss Aika-san. So ang isang possibly kasi sa local city hall lang kung saan i-file yung report of death. So maybe you could just ask somebody o kaya yung proxy niyo or magbigay kayo ng authorization para makakuha. Kasi the Ininjo ba? Ininjo?
Yes.
The SPA, it could be anybody.
I'm sorry?
I mean, for example, if the Filipino wife is in the Philippines and then she would ask or request somebody here in Japan as her proxy to get, so she could ask anybody to be a proxy.
That's right.
On her behalf.
That's right.
Okay. So she just need to make a ninjo.
And probably she needs to provide her copy of passport, just two copy of passport, or something else like her ID shows her identification.
yun, kailangan niyo po din mag-produce ng inyong identification. So, in case na inyong copy or passport or any IDs, yung valid IDs, no? So, Miss Aika Sang, yun, pwede kayong pwede kayo mag-appoint kung sino man yung nandito sa Japan, provided na bibigyan niyo sila ng letter, yung SPA sa atin, tapos yung inyong copy ng inyong identification. So there's another question here.
Well, let me add one thing.
Okay.
Please
Yes.
consult to the city office or ward office, whatever she needs to ask
Mm-hmm.
to issue. Consult the requirements of the documents, what they are asking.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case, because she's not in Japan, so it takes a long time to send and receive, and so yeah.
So better to inquire first to the local office.
To ask the requirements first.
The requirements to get a copy of the death certificate or notification. Ayun, mas maganda raw, Miss Aika, na mag-inquire muna doon sa local city hall kung ano yung mga requirements na kailangan para makakuha ka ng copy noong report of death, no? Kasi hindi natin alam, baka hindi po pwede yung simpleng SPA lang tsaka yung passport, baka may iba pang kailangan. So, kung meron kayong mauutusan dito, pwede mag-inquire muna siya doon sa City Hall, no? Okay. There's another question. Kuya, meron po nagtanong, separate sa hobby, pero yung parents ng hobby ay bibigyan ka ng share o bibigyan ka ng mana kahit hiwalay na sa anak po nila, maaaring po mangyari. Okay. Okay. Sensei, if there is a Japanese husband and the Filipina wife get divorced, and the Japanese husband's parents are willing to give inheritance to the divorced wife, would it be possible?
Yes, the answer of the one of the question, although she divorced, and the parents of the ex-husband wants to give something, if the thing is written
in the will,
a will, yes, then she has a right to receive the property.
So it should not only be on, it should be written.
That's right.
So pwede naman daw po yun, Miss Anne. So pwede kayong mabigyan kung kaya lang provided na nakasulat yon sa will, no? Yung huling testamento ng inyong biyenan, no? O yung inyong yun, girino otosan ka, girino okasan ka. It should be written on the will. Hindi pa pwedeng verbal, no? Para mas malakas yung iyong legal right. Okay.
And in this case, if the will is notarized one, is better because that's the notary public knows that this, and if the holograph just is a personal will, is if even that the thing is written, for instance, someone wants to give something to her on a holograph will, that if the heir just hide about that, then she cannot know, So to be safer for her, if the will is notarized, that's better. Yeah.
So you just suggest that
the
will
suggestion
be notarized. I see. So even if there is a will, and if it's not notarized, the heirs could probably hide or kept it to her. So yun. Okay. Na ano mo an? So ang sinasabi ni Ichino Sensei, will should always be notarized para walang question, kasi kahit na nasa huling testamento pero hindi siya na-notarize, kasi testamento na yun nandoon lang sa kaya siya lang ang nakakaalam nun, tsaka yung mga possibly yung mga kamag-anak. So pwede nilang itago sa iyon. While kung naka-notarized yan, kasi may copy doon ng testamento, so pwede mong i-claim yun. So kung meron kahit saan po, kung mas safe na kailangan naka-notarized yung mga testamento ng kung kanino may iwan, para safe, walang legal impediments. Okay. Do we have any more questions? No? So yun. Sensei, there were no more questions, so I think maybe if there would be some questions after this program, maybe we could just ask later Ichino Sensei for the answers.
No problem.
Sensei, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you very much for having with us, and we extend for 24 minutes. So
my pleasure. No worries.
Thank you very much. So if you need, kung meron po kayong mga professional question, mga legal questions doon sa topic po natin ngayon, hinggil doon sa property, pension, last will, or even sa visa, pwede po ninyong kontakin si Ichino Sensei. Sensei, have we last time, can we just give some information? How could we contact Ichino Sensei? For example, in Facebook. So you could just look for Mitsunobu.
Ichino.
Mitsunobu Ichino.
Mitsunobu
Ichino.
Sorry, it's complicated for you people.
Sorry. Anyway, it's we'll try to look it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Mitsunobu Ichino. So
that's right. Good.
Sensei's can we give your phone number?
Sure.
Yes, please.
090
090
1293
1293
47 39. Yes.
Okay. We'll just flash it. Is it correct?
That's right.
So yun po, kung sino yung gusto makakontak kay Ichino Sensei, ito po yung telephone number niya at saka yung kanyang Facebook. So well, maybe ego okay.
Yes. Tagalog, I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry.
So if you have any questions, you could call Ichino Sensei or could contact him on Facebook. So yun po. Thank you very much, Sensei.
My pleasure. Thank you. Yes. Very happy to be here.
常連というか、こちらがお願いするばっかりで。
Anytime, it's been my pleasure.
So, thank you very much. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat ngayon. So, doon po sa may mga additional na katanungan po, pwede po ninyong i-send yung inyong questions later, even after the program. Then we will ask Ichino Sensei later to look for some answers based on your question. So, yun po. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much. At
thank you too.
We would be happy to have you again on our next issue. Thank you very much, Sensei. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon.
Bye-bye. See you.